Hi, this is Gene Paranak, host of MedTech Crossroads, and we are here in Detroit, Michigan at the MedHealth Summit at Ford Field. And I am joined here by Mark Ignash, who is the Sector Development Director for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, MEDC. And Mark, we've been getting to know each other over the last couple of years. Thanks for being here, and thanks
My
for
pleasure.
sitting down to talk for a few minutes.
Absolutely.
So here we are in the Motor City, this place where all of Michigan's amazing industry has sort of been born and come out of. And a mutual friend of ours loves to say, in Michigan, we can build anything here. And I, over my career, have become convinced of that. It's often over the past decades, it's been maybe a little more hidden, or it's been thought of as it's just this one thing, but there's so many industries that we touch and do touch today as a state and in our industrial sector. Tell us a little bit about how you view that and some of the initiatives that MEDC is making to try to get the word out there.
Absolutely. And I appreciate kind of, it's interesting. We are in the birthplace of where the world was put on wheels, and out of that, spurred so much other opportunities for growth and different industries that our companies can potentially tap into. And so, while we find ourselves here in the Motor City capital, as you mentioned, we're talking specifically today about, healthcare, medtech, and technologies that are fueling the future of how healthcare is provided. And, Michigan really is completely a player in that market, and that's one of the things that within our strategy, we're trying to make sure that we tell the world,
get the word out there. Well, it's something that you guys have been doing a lot I know in recent years, and I've even seen just over this last year, I've watched as you've been taking these delegations places. We were out in Anaheim, and just getting the word out about these Michigan companies. Tell us a little bit about the initiative behind that. Like, how did this come about?
Yeah, so internally, it's one of those things that I refer to it as a full court press effort, right? So we're looking at it, and if we're going to go in market, meaning we're going to go somewhere else, whether it's domestically or it's internationally, it's how do we take the team we need to take to really best present our state, and that could be for any sector. And so specifically, in life sciences and medical devices and in healthcare technologies, one way that we can do that accomplishes several objectives is you assemble a core of companies, and you actually bring Michigan to those markets, whether that's somewhere else within the United States or that's globally. And it's actually very exciting to show up in places where sometimes they may not expect to see you, but then you really show, we've brought really our all-star team, and that's not just MEDC's team. That's Team Michigan, and what we define by Team Michigan is any company that's a Michigan company, that's Team Michigan. That's our supply chain. Those are our manufacturers. Those are our pharmaceutical developers and our biotech innovators. That's Team Michigan, and that's where we said, how do we take all of that, and how do we package that and display it for really the world to see? And that's been through some of these different delegations and events that we literally build the team and take that team in market.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, because I remember when we were in Anaheim, you would have people say, "Oh yeah, Michigan's here," like Michigan showed up.
Yeah.
And it's I think that sense of they're from Michigan, and they're from Michigan, and they're from Michigan. This whole state is here. I remember one time we were talking in our own business about like how many different roles it takes to do development of medical technologies, and people will sometimes think, "Oh, I just need this one thing and then I'll be done." It's so much that goes into it, and so many of those vendors that can play in multiple industries but are playing in medtech, they showed up to events like that. So I think it's so cool that you're highlighting those, because there's so many little heavy lifts that need to be done all the way through that process, and those players were there. Well, and this isn't the end of it. There's another one coming up you were just at AdvaMed, the MedTech conference in Boston, representing Michigan. Any highlights from that, or how did that go?
Yeah, again, that event in particular, it really brought really deep intelligence and information based on what's the most recent developments, both in regulation, advanced manufacturing. Where are we going with 3D printing and medical devices, and what are the constraints for medical robotics and cybersecurity? And these are all topics that we're not there yet, but that's where we're going. And so as a state and through our, our participation in the event, we're trying to figure out where is it going and what are the experts saying and how do we try to position Michigan to be there?
Yeah.
Again, skate where that puck is going. And so I would say by and large, it went great. I mean, definitely came back with knowledge and intelligence that we didn't have going in and new contexts and relationships that, again, as a state, we can leverage to help inform where do we look at in the next 5-10 years when we do get there, when AI does get developed well enough to make surgical robotics even more prevalent, or 3D printing with the advanced polymers and materials becomes more widely applicable and usable in practice. That's where we're going. That's what we're told we're going by the experts. So again, that event helps us to understand, okay, so how do we start to position now to be there when we need to be? And in some cases, we're there now already.
Yeah, those resources are there, and it's just a matter of knowing where they're needed and being able to highlight that,
absolutely.
which is what's happening so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, and then 2 weeks from now, some of us are going to be in Germany.
Yeah.
Tell us about what's happening there.
Yes, so really as a component of our efforts to, again, get in market and, as I say, plant Michigan's flag, firmly in places where we need to be shown and known. In partnership with the International Trade Team, we're deploying a delegation out to Medica, which is, it's probably, if not one of the largest medical trade shows up there, along with the likes of Arab Health and a few others. But for the European market, it is the show, and upwards north of 16 different exhibit halls that honestly you got to spend probably a day in each. So yeah, we'll have a pavilion there. We're going to have companies joining us, helping them to increase their exports and build those international relationships. And again, lowering that barrier to entry. In some cases where they've got the know-how, they've got the solutions. It's just getting it into market. And we have wraparound services. We have folks that can help them connect with the right folks, the right meetings. And then we're also there on a business attraction effort. We're looking for companies that are saying we want to enter the U.S. market. And, of course, we want to tell them, well, you need to consider Michigan. So let's talk about that as well. So, yeah, it's a multifaceted trip, but ultimately, us as a state and as an industry and as those joining us saying, Michigan is a place that, we need to be considered. You need to look here, and we're glad to have you, come on over and take a look at what we got.
Well, it's so cool because it's not just flash and whatever else. It's really getting down into the weeds of what is necessary to make these kind of things happen, and showcasing those companies. And,
right.
And really, you guys are doing the legwork, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, well, hey, we appreciate doing it. It's what we do. We enjoy doing it, and anything we can do that helps our industrial base and our companies access new opportunities. I mean, that's the name of the game. That's the point of what we're doing, and it can be a long-term lead time on some of these relationships, but they've got to start somewhere, and we're here to help make that happen.
Well, thank you for all you do, Mark. Mark Ignash, MEDC. Thanks for being with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.